Hello guys, this is the best, fastest, easiest way to get natural bees. You will need to have gotten rocky bees first. If you don't have rocky bees, then just hear me out. Very quickly I will explain to you how you can get them. First of all, you need to have progressed to the stage that you have redstone and gold. If you don't have these materials, then I recommend you just keep farming and doing the quests until you have that. And then you can progress towards natural bees. So, you get your wasteland bees with your scoop. Then you breed them in the hives, and the breeding procedure will give you comb, which you will put inside your centrifuge to get honey droplets. We will be using honey droplets in the analyzer here. Over here, honey droplets to analyze the bees. I will show you more about that later. So the centrifuge requires 1 redstone dust, iron, smooth stone. The analyzer needs the gold and infused iron and some other things which are easy to get. And then you can crossbreed them enough to get your honey droplets, and you can also crossbreed them in the direction that we need to get the rocky bees, which is wasteland plus wasteland will give you desiccated 45% of the time. Desiccated and wasteland will give you dried 40% of the time, and dried and desiccated will give you rocky 40% of the time, as long as you actually have a block of tuff under the hive. It's not difficult to get the rocky bees. So now starts the actual tutorial towards natural bees. You need to crossbreed your rocky bees in a way that they have the cave dwelling gene on. And specifically we want both of the genes to be on. So you get your analyzer. Let me grab a bee from here. This is my cave dwelling chest. So you open your analyzer with right click, put the honey droplets here and throw your bee there. And now we can see the active gene and the inactive gene. Species: rocky, wasteland. Life, productivity, flower that it requires, humidity, temperature. I wasn't very concerned with humidity and temperature because I was able to manipulate that with frames. We will talk about that later. Here is the cave dwelling property. So one gene is cave dwelling, the other gene is not cave dwelling. You could crossbreed them so that you get one that has cave dwelling, both of these. And also I would also recommend that the active time is also the same with your other rocky bee that you're going to be crossbreeding. That will make your life much easier. Cave dwelling both, and active time the same for your two bees, rocky drone and your rocky queen. If you manage to get 2 bees, a queen and a drone, rocky, that are both cave dwelling in both genes, and they have also the same active time, this is gonna be huge for the future. Now you need to acquire some blocks. A warped wart block, a nether wart block, and an infused rock. This is how you get the nether wart block. You need the nether wart. I have a video that explains how to get nether wart. Then you need to get the warped wart block. Basically, you get that one just from tree, like that. And you get the infused block if you place a living rock on your natural altar. And living rock, of course, we get it by putting stone around the pure daisy. So you would have to actually have gotten these things. Now we will go to the nether with these blocks. So this is a setup. We have another warp block and infused rock over here. If you have many hives, you may want to start progressing towards the first kind of bee with the same block under it if you want to do multiple attempts at the same time. So you need to have rocky and rocky. That will give you warped. If you have warped word under the housing, 25% chance for that. Then this will give you crimson bees. If you put nether wart under the housing, 25% chance. And then you get your crimson and warped, and you put them in a hive that has infused rock under it. And this will give you 20% chance to get the cursed ones. Once you get the cursed bee, then you just crossbreed a cursed bee and a dried bee, and this will give you the natural bee. Now, I want to tell you something. You may discover the natural bee before you actually get it, because one of your bees will have as a second gene, which is not active, the natural species. That's what happened to me. I got the achievement from the inactive species. If you just keep crossbreeding this particular bee, it will be very easy to get the natural bee out of this. So if you need to have a look at the mutations again, here they are. You start from the bottom. Rocky plus rocky will give you warped if there's a warped word block under the housing and you are in the nether, and they are cave dwelling, of course. Then rocky and rocky will give you crimson if there's another word block under the housing. Crimson and warped will give you cursed. Nothing under housing actually needed here. And then to get the natural bee, you just use your cursed bee and the dried bee, and 35% chance with infused rock under it will give you the natural bee. So if you will be doing this blindly or semi-blindly, so that means that you will be using the analyzer not so often. As long as you have honey droplets to analyze, you should keep using it. But if you are going to be doing this mostly blind and not optimizing the various qualities, then you will have to craft frames so that your bees can actually breed when it comes to temperature and humidity. So probably you will need to craft hot frames, wet frames, icy frames. Twisting frames will give you more chances for mutations. Wet frames, and you should also, if you need, of course, I needed this. There's this frame called permafrost frame that gives you -2 in temperature. This is really good because sometimes the icy frames, they are not enough when you have only 3 slots available. So in one slot you can get it to -2. That means that you save 1 slot for humidity stuff. Now, if you have access to an enchanter from Mystical Agriculture or some way to enchant things, you can actually enchant the frames and this is going to make it easier to craft them, because you can mend them if you put mending and unbreaking on them, but that's not necessary. You can also do this by simply crafting enough frames. There is a very useful ritual with magic circle that you can do it to create more bee nests. Basically, this is going to give you another queen, because if you do the ritual and toss in the circle the ingredients plus one bee, a drone of a specific species that you want to get a queen of, then this ritual will give you a hive that has inside the queen and some drones. And it will also give you a kind of pure bee. So this is sort of an insurance policy. That's what I like to call it. If you don't want to lose a specific bee that you have gotten through mutations, you keep a duplicate of it through the ritual in your chest. This is the circle. I don't know why I did it on glass. I thought it would be cool. And here is how... Oh, this is not the right circle. This is the right circle. Yeah. I did it a couple of times, like 3 times. It requires propolis though, so you need to have already a way to get propolis for this to work. It's not a must. I think you can do it very easily without, but it's really very useful to know. And when you actually get the bees and you have access to an enchanter, you can enchant your scoop with Fortune 3 to get more bees. This is a tip I got from Ginger Plague while I was streaming, so thanks for that. One tip, in case you're wondering, when you're breeding bees in the nether, you do not need to have reclaimed the biome. It's just something that I was wondering, and you do not need to have that reclaimed. It works normally in the nether anyway. So once you have your natural bees, you want to crossbreed them or keep breeding them so that you get the nature essence. Here is the hive that I used and the bees that I used for that. We can have a look at them with the analyzer. This is princess, natural. It requires flowers around, humidity normal, temperature normal, diurnal. That means that she's active during the day and she's not cave dwelling. Let's check the drone. Both genes natural, flowers, normal, also during the day and also not cave dwelling. So let's check the other drone as well. Normal, flowers, diurnal. Okay, so when you're actually crossbreeding them, you will need to pay attention to one very important thing if you want to get the nature essence. And that very important thing is that the bee is ecstatic. Otherwise, she will not give you nature essence, this thing that you really want to get. Bee is ecstatic. If the bee is just satisfied and this is yellow, you can breed her 100,000 times, as I kept doing, and she will never give you nature essence. But if she's happy, immediately she will give you nature essence. It's incredible how fast you can get, and you can get the 4 essences that you need to craft the seed, and then you can say goodbye to the bee if you don't want to do anything with her ever again. So you need to find the correct conditions for her to be ecstatic. For me, it was a permafrost frame and a wet frame, or you could do 2 icy frames, I guess. I put a waxed frame for productivity, hoping that it's going to increase the chances for nature essence to be produced. It will never give you, no matter how much productivity you have here, it will never give you nature essence if she's not ecstatic. Yeah, that's actually all you need to know to get the nature essence and the natural bees. So I hope you have fun with this and that you get them very, very fast. I got them in 4 hours, but I did not know many of the things that I narrated to you right now. So I spent a lot of time crossbreeding them with the wrong blocks under them and without the right conditions, without them being ecstatic. So I think that you should be able to cut the time at least to 2 hours that I wasted there. So have fun and see you in the next tutorial, or see you at one of my streams if you join, sometimes at Twitch or even I multi-stream on YouTube. Goodbye.